Is up, everybody? We are back with another Halo Flashpoint video, and today we are looking at the October 2025 balance update, as well as a general rules update, and a little bit more. So without further ado, let's get to it. So Flashpoint, new and improved. Mantic have put out an October update with changes to several aspects of the game. These changes include points changes for units, items, and the weapons. Changes to several keywords and how some of the order dice work. New things were also added, as in new rules, and several rules clarifiers for players that had questions. Alongside the October update, we also saw the release of Feet First into Hell, the ODST release, and Organized Play Season 1, Husky Raid. So I'm just going to use this video as a chance to look at all the new rules and changes at the same time, all in one big roundup. Vaguely, the order will be for the video, October 2025 Update PDF, that's the PDF that Mantic released. A quick look at Feet First into Hell, the ODST box, a quick look at the Husky Raid Season 1, a look at rules changes that you may have missed, as in rules that were changed that maybe weren't included in the PDF, and then future changes that I'd like to see for the game going forward. So let's get to Part 1, the 2025 PDF. So I'm just going to go through the PDF section by section, item by item. And first up, we have keywords and item changes, and the first one is frag. So frag has been changed. They added a piece of text at the bottom that basically says you now require the same or more successes with a frag test to pin and scatter a model. This is a change from the old rules, which would automatically pin and scatter. Overall, this should mean that models are going to become pinned less often and speed up gameplay because you're not spending most of the game pinned. I'm going to mention this a bit more later on in the video, but I'm just going to move on for now. So next up, we have support weapon. This has mostly just been reworded from its old iteration. It is a bit more concise and modified that when picking up a support weapon, your movement ends. This is changed alongside the addition of turret weapon rules in the ODST book, which I'll talk later about in the ODST section. Essentially, when carrying a support weapon, you may not sprint, you may not throw grenades. When you do, your model's stats are changed to speed 1/1, but they can't sprint anyway, so they can only advance. And during a assault melee, you may never roll fight dice, essentially meaning you can never do damage when you're in a melee. You may, however, still roll save dice when you become attacked in a melee. You just don't get to make the fight yourself. Now onto threat sensor. So threat sensor has become nerfed somewhat. So instead of revealing the entire map, it now only shows essentially a 3x3 cube grid for all friendly models, because it's the cube it's in and all cubes adjacent to it. And this affects all your friendly models, so all your friendly models can still see all the enemy models that are inside that cube. The item still allows line of sight through walls, but not clear shots as it did before. This is overall a good change, as the item was a bit oppressive before. Additionally, it now works closer to how the item operates in game, where it only revealed a small section of the map. I think something notable to mention is the rule does not say that the item must be placed on the top cube of a stack when you target a cube. So that essentially means you can shoot the threat sensor through walls and things to put it inside a room if you happen to have some terrain that has a closed room. I've got two little diagrams at the bottom vaguely showing how the item works. So on the image on the left, it is on a one high cube, and it's showing every model in a 3x3 grid, one to the left, one to the right, one up, one down. And then on the image to the right, it is now on the ground, so it's showing all the models, one to the left, one to the right, and one up. But because the blue model is two up, it's not being revealed anymore. So now on to active camo. This was two changes, but I'll talk about them both now. This was a change to the item active camo and the keyword active camo. The change overall is a nerf, but it's a nerf for the better. So when picking up the item, your model gains the keyword active camo until they sprint, fight, or shoot. Now, when under the effects of the keyword active camo, if the model has full starting shields, it may only be targeted from the same or an adjacent cube, 1 cube distance, but at -2 shoot dice. If the model has damaged starting shields, it may be targeted from anywhere, but at -2 shoot dice. If the model has no shields, or its shields are fully depleted, it may be targeted from anywhere, but at -1 shoot dice. The old active camo item and keyword shared a name, but acted completely differently, so it is nice that they both have been brought into line. There is a key difference between what was put out in the October update PDF and what has shown up on the app. PDF does not mention that you have a -2 shoot dice when shooting a fully shielded model, but the app does. Now onto Health Pack, and this has gained a buff. As an auxiliary action, as in a short action, you may choose to heal all wounds on a model that is holding the Health Pack. This essentially makes the Health Pack usable by models when they have already taken some damage or have only one wound remaining. Previously, you had to wait until taking extra damage before life support would trigger if you picked it up on the battlefield. This does not change the item/life support automatically activating if you do take one wound only. So if you've got a 5 wound brute and they only take one wound, the item still automatically activates. You now just have the choice to activate it basically once you pick it up off the battlefield. It, however, does not clarify if shields are also regained when using it. The life support keyword says return the model to an undamaged state, which I think could be interpreted as including shields, especially since in the video game, the health pack does regenerate your shields as well as your health. So I think just a little line saying this does not regenerate shields would be good for new players. Medic. This has got a buff. It has been reworded slightly, but the main thing is it is now a free auxiliary action, as in it does not take any short or long action to heal one wound from a friendly model in the same cube. A clarifier would have been nice here to let people know that the medic may also heal themselves as well as any ally models. Models are always in the same cube with themselves, and a friendly model is just a model that is on your fire team, so a medic may obviously heal themselves in that scenario. Next, we are on to Scout. Scout has got a buff. So a model that has an advanced stat of 1, as in, say, an ODST with 1/2 for movement, when in respawning, may make a free crouch action after they have finished their advance. Essentially, this could mean a scouting ODST gains a +1 shoot dice on a subsequent shoot action when they respawn, and they also gain a +1 save dice when they are getting shot at. As a reminder, when a scouting ODST hot drops to respawn, they may not take the free crouch, as they did not use a standard advance to enter the board. This is a good change overall that makes scouting models, which tend to be a bit slower, have a bit more utility on the respawn, but the save dice will rarely even save an ODST from attacks, but at least it gives them a bit more offense when they make a shoot action. Quantum Translocator has been nerfed. You must now remain within 2 cubes range of the token to use it, which essentially is a 5x5 grid. It was previously up to any range away, meaning with enough movement you could snap up and teleport away with flags and other objective items. This is a good change that will hopefully slow down Quantum Translocator shenanigans in the future. The text on the PDF looks to be unchanged from the old wording, which I suppose is a mistake as the app has been updated correctly. And then on the bottom we have a quick little diagram. So you see the Translocator, the red model has moved 1 and 2, that is the range. On the second image, you see the model has moved 1 and 2 and 3, and they can no longer use the Translocator. Now onto the section of the PDF that is core rules/other changes. So first up is rolling first turn. This is a new rule. So now rolling for first turn, you can either choose to be first or choose to be second. I do believe most players were already doing this, at least all the games I played, but it's good that that's now clarified and added officially to the rules. The +1 activation dice has also been changed to reflect this. So the same as it was before, you can now use the +1 activation dice to steal first turn, or you can use it to steal second turn if you happen to want to. This does give the players a bit more choice tactically when using the activation dice, as they can. Now onto the weapon token pools. This has been a revamp from the initial rules that were put out in the core book. You now choose 12 tokens instead of the old 10, and you draw tokens from any and all boxes and expansions, where previously it did mention that you are supposed to take tokens associated with your own faction. I don't believe anyone ever did the tokens with your own faction thing, but it's good to get a new token limit. I think my suggestion is have all your tokens pre-separated into bags in your player box, and then mark each bag, bag A, bag B, etc. And then when you start a game, just get your opponent to choose one of the bags. You open it up so both players know exactly what's in the bag, and then shuffle them as normal. I believe this will help speed up the initial setup for the game, as you don't have to sit there and sort out tokens, with the added benefit that all the relevant weapon cards will already be in the bag ready to go, so you don't have to search for those either. Next change is off the board command dice. This is a new section, but it essentially just clarifies some old rules that were implied, but now makes them clear. It describes how special orders, if they meet the right conditions, may be used when off the board. This is things like Master Chief's one-man army, For future special orders, it would be great if these are just written clearly on the card, with something like this special order may be spent while off the board, to make it clearer for new players and such. Activating your model. This is another new section. This clarifies that a model that activates and is required to do an action must do that action. This is mainly for a pinned model that must stand up, and for a dead model that must respawn. A model that is not required to do anything may still choose to do nothing. They still gain their activation token when they do this as normal. I think something that players might be a bit confused about is passing a turn and activating and doing nothing. Passing a turn may only be done if your opponent has more activations than you. Here's an example. So that's just a little example of how passing a turn works and how it does not add activations if you choose to do so. Acrobatic. This is a keyword change, so it seems to have been put in the wrong section of the PDF, being a cool rule change. Regardless, it has been reworded, mainly due to the new Husky game modes. Instead of saying counts as 2 kills as in the old rules, it now says rewards +1 VP. This is cool, especially for things like VIP, where before a acrobatic model might have killed the VIP and actually scored double points, where now if an acrobatic kills the VIP, they only score +1 points. Line of sight changes. So this is a clarifier again, and not necessarily a new rule. It clarifies that essentially, to draw line of sight to a model, some physical part of your model that is inside your model's cylinder must be able to draw line of sight to a physical part of an enemy model that is inside their cylinder. A cylinder extends from the bottom and edge of your model's base to the top of the model's head or torso, whichever is taller. A physical part of a model is anything, including their base. So an example of why the game uses cylinders for line of sight. So you can have cool ultimate models, but not necessarily take much of a disadvantage. One of the 2 Atriox models, the one on the right, would usually be a lot easier to see than the one on the left, and therefore give you a bigger disadvantage because he would die more quickly because you couldn't hide him as much. But because of the cylinder rules, you can't actually see the top of the hammer for line of sight purposes, and therefore you don't necessarily take as big of a disadvantage. I've tried to make it a bit clearer where the blank space is ignored for line of sight. You only count the actual model for line of sight. So now onto the big part of the video, points changes. So I've gone through and I've redid all the points changes with the new versus old, with a big shout out to Darkhind for helping me out with this. So for the UNSC, I have gone through with all the old points on the left and then the new points as displayed in the update PDF on the right. So a green box is a buff, and that is a value that went down. A red value is a nerf, so that is a value that went up. And a black box is a value that stayed the same. So for the UNSC models, 7 models went down, 9 went up, and 1 stayed the same. The average points remain vaguely the same across the whole team. This does not include Chief, who's a bit of an outlier. So the old value was 42.37 versus the new value, which is 42.1875. Broadly, most of the models that were capable of pinning have gone up, as well as the models that were clearly a bit better than the others, such as the Gunneer with Grenade Launcher. Most of the changes are in the 1 or 2 point values, but a few outliers were more drastically changed. That is, the CQB with the Energy Sword has been reduced by 4 points. The Gunneer with Grenade Launcher has gone up in 4 points. The Mark 7 with AR has gone up in 5 points, so that is a big change for the Mark 7 with Assault Rifle. The Zvezda with Cinder Shot has gone down in 3 points, and the Zvezda with Commando has gone down in 5 points. So both Zvezdas see a big change, and so people didn't take them as much. So now onto the banished part of the points changes, and for the most part, all the banished have gone down. 9 models went down, 0 went up, and 4 stayed the same. Average points dropped by 2 across the whole team, not including Atriox. So the old value is 43.33, and the new value is 41.67. Broadly, points dropped across the board. The elites, with the changes to frag, as in them not pinning as often, may make the elites a bit more lethal. However, their own lethality has reduced a bit because of their own plasma grenades not pinning enemies as much. As with the Spartans, most changes are in the 1 or 2 point range. However, there were fewer outliers. That is, the Elite Pulse Carbine was dropped by 4 points, and the Brute Captain with the Hydra was dropped by 5 points. Now onto the weapon points changes proper. So 11 weapons went down, 10 went up, and 15 stayed the same. Some of the drastic changes were the M319 Grenade Launcher went up by 3, The MA40 AR went up by 3, and the focus rifle went down by 3. I think the grenade launcher going up by 3 is a good change. However, the MA40 AR going up by 3 seems a bit drastic, but I guess it's now one of the most reliable ways to pin models with its rapid fire, so maybe they're preempting that. Points changes to grenades and items. So for the items, 6 went down and 4 went up, and 1 stayed the same. And there's also the repair field that was added, which is new. For grenades, 1 went down, 1 went up, and 2 stayed the same. I've highlighted 2 little sections of text. This is, you may select up to 2 of each item for your fire team, and each unit may be equipped with up to 2 types of grenades, as we'll come back to them later. For points changes on command upgrades, 2 command upgrades went down, 0 went up, and 2 stayed the same. A new upgrade was also added, being the 2 times extra single-use command dice. I'm unsure why that is worded differently to the original +1 command dice, as it seems like you could have just basically worded them the exact same. Now we are on to points changes for special orders. For the UNSC, 1 went down, 2 went up, and Chief specifically sees a pretty big nerf with his one-man army going up by 4 points. For the Banished, 2 went down and 2 stayed the same. So the Banished have seen quite a bit of buffing in the update. And that's it for the October update 2025. We have rebalances across the board, some great updates and buffs for certain keywords. I don't disagree with any of the changes, and I think they're all generally on the right track. And I hope as time goes on, Mantic can continue to iron out bugs that make Flashpoint the best game ever. Now a quick look at the ODST's Feet First into Hell. So I've already done a full comprehensive video on the Feet First into Hell box, so check that out if you want a full rundown on all the rules, but I will briefly go through them. ODST units were added, 10 new unit cards in total. 3 new special orders being Hot Drop, Supply Drop, and your orders have changed. 6 new Fireteam purchasable weapons. 1 new grenade/explosive being the demo charge. I will just go through the demo charge. As a quick reminder, the demo charge is a grenade and takes up a grenade slot when purchased. It, however, is a grenade only in name, as it can neither be thrown nor does it use the frag or implosion keywords. It is used in close combat/melee only and will only ever do damage to a single target. Think of it more like a shaped charge your model is running in and slapping onto an enemy's armor. 2 new items, the intel and repair field. 5 new battlefield weapon drops. 3 new rules being fire, incendiary, and turret weapons. 1 new fireteam command upgrade being advanced reconnaissance. 3 new game modes being assault, assault elimination, and strongholds elimination. But there was one more change. So grenade and item purchase limits were changed in the ODST book. The grenade/explosive section is directly contradicting the October update. The ODST book essentially changes 3 things. The first one is in the item section. It says select up to 1 of each item for your tire team. This is a purchase limit. It also then says may be equipped with only 1 item. This is a carry limit. For the grenade section, it says equipped with up to 1 grenade. This is a grenade-specific purchase limit. There was an errata that was put out that says, in the book of the first print batch, we have incorrectly stated you can only select 1 item per model. Please change this to 2 as per normal rules. However, I believe as worded, that implies that it is just a change to the carry limit, which may be wrong. As in, models may be equipped with up to 2 items, the carry limit. It does not mention the grenade limit at all. An updated FAQ would be good to clarify this, as the one that puts out only affects the carry capacity of a model. 2 items per model, not 1 item per model. So I just like a clarifier, as I know some people have become a bit confused by this. Now on to Husky Raid. So Husky Raid is announced pretty recently as Season 1 for Halo Flashpoint. We just finished Season 0, which was the one that we've currently been playing. So for Husky Raid, this is centered around Husky missions, and 8 new game modes have been added/revamped. That is Husky Siege, Husky King of the Hill, Husky Strongholds, Husky Extraction, Husky Oddball Reloaded, Illusion, Headhunter, Organized Play, and VIP, Organized Play. These are all on the app right now for you to see, so I'll leave it to you to go look at each one specifically. But vaguely, they are all either new or revamped versions of existing game modes, usually with higher turn limits and more VP for victory, usually about 20. In addition to the main goal of each mission, you can generally also score VP by killing enemies as well. Alongside this were also new achievements alongside the new missions, New achievements were also added and or revamped, as well as new game mode specific achievements. We are now onto the unannounced and or other changes / rulings. Several changes and or rulings have been made by Mantic, either in the app or just in various social medias or releases or whatever. I thought I'd just take this chance to compile them all here so everyone can see exactly what they were. I tried to put in references when I could, but I forgot to do some of them. This is probably not a comprehensive list, as things get changed and sometimes don't get logged, but I'll just go through them now. So number 1, repair field does not stack. I mentioned this in my ODST video, and it was clarified that it does not. I think a clarifier for this on the app would be good, just so players know. Number 2, you may not take more items and or weapons than you can equip onto each model for a fire team. When you deploy your fire team, every piece that you have paid for must be equipped to a model, otherwise it's not a legal fire team to begin with. Number 3, models may climb 1 up and 1 down over single cube height obstructions, such as the L-shaped walls in the Spartan box. This also applies to things that are bigger than 1 cube, as in a 2 height obstruction would be 2 up and 2 down. But the L shape is the best example of this. There is an example in the core rulebook, which is a bit misleading for the Zvezda. It implies that the Zvezda can't move B, but it actually could move B by going 1, 2 up, and then 1 down for 3 total. But realistically, it just go 1 to the left and 1 up, which would be faster. But it could legally still just go the B route for 3 movement if it wanted to. The ODST 5 rakes gained fists on their data cards, as their default weapon, the demo charge, was only ever a single-use weapon, meaning that if the 5 rake got into a melee and used the demo charge, it could no longer legally make any more assaults or melees, as they no longer had a melee profile to begin with. In the app, it was also changed from a melee option on the card to a grenade option, as it should have been. And that means a model may take a demo charge and a combat knife if they wish to. While using Hot Drop, you may first use a scout move, pick up items, weapons, or scenario objects, then use the Hot Drop special order to redeploy, possibly into your opponent's deployment zone if you want. This is because scout happens before Hot Drop in the turn order. 5B. You may also use a +1 D8 command dice to add extra dice when making the Hot Drop test if you really want to succeed a bit more often. Number 6. I raised the issue that scenario objects did not have any core rules governing how they were handled. It was always just game mode specific, and this has been rectified and further clarified. This specific example I gave was in the Assault game mode. It didn't say that you could not pick up the bomb when an enemy was in the cube, and because there was no core rule governing it, you could just pick up the bomb when an enemy was in the cube. So with the new update, you can no longer do that. Number 7, in my ODST video, having multiple fire tokens was brought up. Mantic have clarified this in the app, and basically no, you can't have more than 1 fire token at any time. We're now on to 8, and this was a rules commentary update with the new PDF. I do feel like a lot of players might have missed this one, so specifically, it says you may not target cubes with weapons if there are no enemies in the cubes, and a weapon that targets a cube is also considered to have targeted the models in the cube after being hit. So this is good for elites, who can now evade after being fragged, but not pinned. So if you throw a frag grenade into a cube with an elite, if that elite does not become pinned, that elite may now evade, which it was not able to do previously. Number 9, 2 uses was clarified with the word only. Number 10, the intel item was added to the game. This grants +1 VP when found. The token for this can be found in the ODST box. Number 11, a preemptive FAQ was added for the Husky season achievement, which is off the rack, as well as clarifying that guarded does not help against frag, as the damage from a frag is not a shoot test, it is just a test to see how big the grenade was, and guarded only helps against direct fire shoot tests. And we're on to the final section of the video. What about moving forward? So we have seen some great steps so far to get Flashpoint to be the best game it can be. I would expect the next major rules update around the end of Season 1, which might be around June 2026, but that's just a guess. For now, here are a few things I hope can get clarified, looked at, and discussed in the next update. Number 1, Thruster. So I mentioned in my recent ODST battle report, I think Thruster may need a look at. Basically, I think the grapple plus Thruster combo is a bit too strong, as models can move a bit too quickly across the board. I think Thruster should maybe be changed to, you may spend a free action to give this model the evade keyword for the next attack to target it. If the model already has the evade keyword, from a thruster or on its data card. Instead, it gains +1 save dice for that attack. This does not stack. And I think that's just a way to make thruster a bit less strong. Number 2, a crouched model that becomes pinned will stay crouched. This is true for when they take the stand-up action as well, as pinning and stand-up are both not forms of movement, and so both don't meet the qualifier for what deactivates a crouch. I do feel like this is a bit strange, as a model can be thrown from a 2-story building, but then still happen to land in a perfect crouch. Number 3, frag was changed, which is great. However, to successfully pin a model with a frag, you need the same or more successes. This is counter to both how rapid fire and war test work, which both state to pin, you need more successes. I think having frag brought in line with the others would be good to help prevent misplays, even at the cost of making frag a bit less likely to pin. Number 4, with the release of Feet First into Hell and the October update at the same time, some of the point cost of items seems to be a bit out of sync. Specifically, as examples, the M45 shotgun is less expensive than the M90 shotgun, despite being a direct upgrade. A similar situation is with the BR55 and BR75, which both cost the same amount of points, despite the BR75 being a direct upgrade of the BR55. I don't expect this to be changed until the next season's updates, but it'll be good to see what they come up with. So this is something I was thinking about for number 5, timings on command dice usage and adding to the pool. So here's an example for you. You and an opponent both have a +1 D8 command dice. Who has to declare its use first? The command dice does say this must be used before dice are rolled, but what if you don't want to use yours unless your opponent uses theirs, and what if they don't want to use theirs until you use yours? You're both just stuck playing dice chicken. And then what about the explosive ammo item? This also adds dice to the dice pool, but does not have any requirement stating when it must be used. Presumably that means you could use it after you've rolled the dice. I do think maybe a new rule should be added with something like, while building dice pools, the active player must declare any additional dice they wish to add to their pool. If they decline, their opponents then get the opportunity to add dice. Once any player adds a dice to their pool, their opponent gets another opportunity to then also add dice if able. This continues until the active player declines to add any more extra dice, and then their opponent does the same. If both players decline, they can no longer use any more abilities to add dice. So this puts the pressure on the active player to use their command dice first, and then their opponent may then respond and add dice, but if they do, the active player may then add more dice themselves. This will just stop situations where both players are basically playing dice chicken. And then number 6, what about save tests? So did you know a range shoot test and the save against the damage are both rolled simultaneously? Did you know the same was true for a fight test and a save against the damage test? This is not true for the slammed into wall test and the gravity/falling test. The damage for those is rolled, but the save roll does not require you to roll simultaneously. That means you could use your dice symbol command dice to add dice after your opponent has rolled their damage. For frag/implosion damage/save tests, they also don't say they have to be rolled simultaneously, but that is fine due to the way they work. They wouldn't work if they were simultaneous. They do however say that the damage can't be modified, i.e. you may not add dice to a frag test. But the war/fall tests do not say this, so you could add d8 dice to a gravity test to make gravity hit even harder. I think a run through of these rules to make them all consistent would be good across the board and be a good streamline for players. Number 7, active camo should also deactivate if a model is forced to take a save. So that means a frag grenade or even a melee could deactivate it. That is how the active camo works in the game. I think it's just a way to make it possible to deactivate it for models if you're facing a team that has lots of camo. Number 8, turret weapons were added, but may only see limited use. This is due to them not seemingly being included in the standard weapon pools. I don't believe there is any reason that they can't just be placed in the standard 12 weapon pool, and if you happen to draw one, you put it where it's supposed to be, and then for the rest of the game, it's now just a permanent turret weapon. I do think that's just how I'm going to play it myself anyway. Number 9, Scout was given a slight buff with a free crouch on a respawn. I was thinking instead of that, maybe you could just let Scout models scout onto the board. So essentially, when a Scout model dies, instead of having to make a mandatory advance back onto the board, they could make their Scout move onto the board, as if it was first turn, and then when they come onto the board, they have their full 2 short actions as normal. This is obviously a bit strong, but was just a thought I had. Number 10, an item is only dropped/removed from a model and out of game when its effect has ended, meaning when a model uses active camo, it still takes up one of your 2 item slots. The same goes for a thruster or hard light shield or anything else that doesn't end immediately. I think making this clearer would be good, as I imagine most players have misplayed it at some point. Number 11, please can we get things alphabetized on the app and in the books from now on. Just when I was making this video, it became quite difficult for me to find things on the app. And then number 12, can we please make items and weapons searchable on the app? Would be great. In a game, I just like to be able to type frag grenade or plasma grenade and just have plasma grenade itself turn up, or M45 shotgun and just have the shotgun turn up, as that's basically what I do every time. I go to type plasma grenade and I can't find it, and I'm like, oh, I have to type in item and then go down to the items and then scroll down and try to find plasma grenade. So just changing that would be cool and make the app have more utility during games. Number 13, most of the ODST updates are yet to make their way onto the app, such as the turret weapon rules or the weapons being on the weapon list, and this is just something I noticed as I was making this video. And now I rest. Thanks for sitting through my video. This one took a lot longer than I thought it was, so I appreciate you making it to the end. I did delay this video for a bit from when the PDF was first put out, as I was waiting for the ODST and Husky announcements, and I was just waiting to see how all the rules shook out after the community had a chance to examine them. Be sure to let me know in the comments if there's anything you would like changed in Flashpoint, or what you think of the new rules. Be sure to like and subscribe for more of my Halo Flashpoint content, and I'll catch you next time. Goodbye.